All right. Hello again, Avengers, and welcome. Another exciting daily vlog. This is Daily Vlog 2025, number 308. And today, um, my December campaign seems to actually be shaping up. So, behind the scenes stuff. Um, every year that I've been doing these December campaigns, um, I have a bunch of people that play when they play in my weekday campaigns, which is what the December campaign replaces. Um, and I've been playing with a lot of these people for years. Um, so I one of my goals every year is in my December campaign, I want to have somebody in that campaign, at least one person that I don't regularly play with. Um, the first year that I did it, I think, was the Power Rangers year. And I was lucky enough that Dale Kingsmill, if you're not familiar with her, she's an amazing YouTuber and does a ton of other stuff. She's from Australia. She's amazing and wonderful. She's actually friends with Matt Colville. Um, and she also is someone that, to be blunt, I don't remember how she and I got in touch. Oh, I know what it was. So years and years and years ago, back when I was doing for 2 years, I did a charity event for Extra Life called the Team Human and Critters 48-hour D&D live stream, where we literally played Dungeons and Dragons for 48 hours straight. Now, not one group of people playing for 48 hours. I basically set it up in shifts. But I took a few of those shifts myself. And one of the things I did both years is I ran a Castlevania adventure. The first year I did one that was based on Castlevania 2. And then the second year I did one that was based on Castlevania 3. And it was super, super fun. Well, I think it was the first year that I did it. I was advertising in the Critical Role chat room. Um, and because during Twitch and everything like that, or I think during one of the breaks, because I knew most of the mods there, and again, it was an official Critters and Team Human thing, and so Dale, who's a big fan of Critical Role, contacted me and said, "Hey, I'm interested in doing this," and she signed up for my Castlevania game, and I think that's how she and I got to know each other. And I was unbelievably thrilled. I'd been watching Dale since she was a Geek and Sundry vlogger, and she's just amazing and wonderful. Um, so yeah, that first year I had Dale. The year after that, I think was Fabula Ultima. And that year I got Chax, one of my players for my Zelda campaign on Saturdays. She came over to play. I actually had gotten this really cool guy. He runs Dog Food Studios is the YouTube channel. They've just actually started putting out content again. If you've never seen their stuff, the thing that got me interested in Dog Food Studios was Holly Conrad, Commander Holly, who used to play on the D&D official D&D Curse of Strahd campaign that Chris Perkins ran called Dice Camera Action. She played in this thing called Mage of Sail. And they're basically a bunch of magic users that are also pirates. And the last time I checked, they kind of used a weird version of the Mage the Ascension world, but we're using like a strange version of like D&D 3.5 to be able to do like for the system. Whatever. It's weird, but it's very, very interesting. And so I got I got in contact with the DM, this gentleman named Patrick, and he was supposed to play in my Fabula Ultima. He unfortunately had to drop out for some other reasons. And so I actually contacted a friend of mine from my Twitch Sings days. He was a mutual friend of Chax and mine. Online, he goes by the name Mad Spike. And first of all, it was phenomenally wonderful to be able to kind of catch up with him because it had been years since we'd been able to interact. And so that was just massively, amazingly fun. Last year, I did my Metroid adventure with Lancer, the TTRPG, and I got my friend Elias, who is again, he plays in my Saturday game, and he actually, here's another fun fact: Elias and I met during the Geek and Sundry vlogger search in like 2013, 2014, somewhere around there, because we both auditioned to be Geek and Sundry vloggers, and because all the people trying to become Geek and Sundry vloggers were just really amazing, wonderful people. A few of them started hosting Google Hangouts back when Google Hangouts was a thing, to kind of advertise, because the way that you got through in the first round is you uploaded a video to their website, and then people had to vote for you. And so what we did was we would get together as many people as we could fit on a hangout, and we would all kind of come in and kind of interview each other and try and get fans to vote for us. It was really, really cool. I met a bunch of really amazing people through that. That's where Elias and I met. And later on, I decided I wanted to run a parody D&D campaign, kind of like, what do you call it? Kind of like Acquisitions Incorporated, that eventually came to be known as the Mighty Extreme Heroes, or meh. And Elias agreed to join that as the fighter Tyrion, who was just a standard, I think he was just a classic sword and board champion fighter, that I built for him because he had never played D&D before ever. And that led to Elias eventually asking me to run a Zelda D&D campaign that I eventually convinced him to turn into a Zelda Open Legend campaign. And now I'm running a Zelda Cypher System campaign with him in it. So he is a massive, massive fan of Metroid. He belongs to like the board or something. He helps out with Metroid HQ, which is one of the largest Metroid fan sites on the internet. So he's a huge Metroid fan. So I thought by doing this I'd be able to get him, and I did, and it was super fun. So this year, I'm not going to announce them specifically, just in case something happens, because we still have a month before the game actually happens. So I'm not going to announce specific names until we're actually playing the game. But I've reached out to a few people that I haven't had a chance to play with before, but I've known for a little while. And yeah, I've already gotten two, well, 1.5. One person said, yeah, let me just make sure I don't have anything, and hasn't gotten back to me yet. The other one went, yeah, sure, this should be good. So yeah, I have two people I haven't played with before. I still have a third person that I'm waiting on. And then the rest of the seats are always filled with kind of my regular players. I think Scott, one of my players in Legend of Three Kingdoms, he plays Liliane. Scott has played in every single December campaign that I've ever done, including the first year where I ran 4 different RPGs. Like every week I ran a new RPG, and I nearly killed myself over that. It was rough, guys. It was super, super hard. I was very, very happy. The last RPG that I ran was Library Cats, which is a lasers and feelings hack. So I had very little that I had to do for prep work for that. But I ran. That was the first time I ran the Cypher System, which was fun. I ran Dune Adventures in the Imperium, which was really cool. I did Library Cats, and then there was one other one that I can't remember which one it was. But anyway, so yeah, this year seems to be shaping up to be really interesting. And I'm already working on the actual campaign itself, and I've already come up with most of the kind of modified rules. I talked about it before. For the cleric style character, I can't remember what they're called off the top of my head in Draw Steel. I'm basically going to create elemental spheres instead of deities that they can worship, and it's just going to be me switching around domains. So that's easy enough. Originally, I was going to do the same thing to the paladin style character. I think it's called a conduit. I've given up on the idea. What I'm going to do, because it's such a huge part of the lore, is the conduit. What is it called? I'm actually going to look it up right now because it's bothering me that my brain won't remember what it's called. RPGs, Draw Steel. There we are. Heroes. Alright, classes. The Censor. Conduit is the cleric style one. Censor is... Stop it. Here we go. Censor is the one that is effectively a paladin style character. So, instead of just having the Censor be like the weapons-based version of the Conduit, which is their version of a cleric, the Censor is going to be Templars. If you're not familiar with the lore of Dark Sun, the basics of it is Athos is this world where the gods are gone, and have been gone for centuries, millennia even. And the world itself has been absolutely ravaged by the use of what's called defiling magic. Basically, when you cast arcane spells, in order to get the power for those spells, you actually have to drain that energy out of the plant life around you. And through just crazy, insane amounts of defiling, it turned the world into this barren desert wasteland. There is a version of our arcane spellcasting called Preserving, where instead of just ripping all of the energy out of the ground around you and then casting, you actually rip just enough to get the spell cast, and then you return enough magic to not do permanent damage. But it's significantly more difficult to be a preserver than it is to be a defiler. Defilers are just that. Well, because defiling magic screwed up the world, magic users in general are just really not looked upon very fondly, because most people can't tell the difference between arcane and divine and nature-based magic and stuff like that. And so magic users is bad. So now the world is basically, like, the population of the world is kind of settled in these city-states, because the wildlife has evolved to a point where it's massively deadly to not be inside a city. And each of these city-states is ruled over by what's called a sorcerer king. These are people that, history-wise, tried to do some bad stuff, and then they overthrew their leader, and now they each have their own little fiefdom that they get to be not just, like, ruling over, but a lot of them are worshipped like gods. Or one of the things they have in order to kind of enforce their will is this group of people called the Templar. Templar dedicate themselves to a sorcerer king, and the sorcerer king grants them spells in a similar fashion to how a deity grants spells. Because of how powerful these sorcerer kings are, they actually can do that. And some of the sorcerer kings are actually worshipped as deities. There's one in particular, Tektuktikle. It's hard to pronounce his name. But he literally forces the entire city that he rules over, Draj, to worship him as a deity. It's not just, oh, I'm as powerful as a deity. No, I am a deity, and you are only allowed to worship me. Whether or not the populace believes that, it's up to debate, but they still worship him nonetheless. So the censors are going to be Templar. And what I'm going to do, because again, censors are supposed to choose a deity for domains, because their domains give them access to certain abilities and things like that. So I'm going to take the domains and kind of divvy them up between the different Sorcerer Kings. And so if anyone wants to play a Censor, they just have to choose a Sorcerer King that they have dedicated themselves to. Which will be kind of interesting from a lore perspective because they are going to be the story itself is going to take place in one of the city states, or at least it's going to start there. And so a Templar, if they choose a sorcerer king that's not ruling over the city that they're in, will have to come up with a reason why a Templar from a different sorcerer king is showing up in the city, because the sorcerer kings in general don't get along. That's why they each have their own little city states. They generally don't get along very well. Yeah, like I said, and then the last thing that I have to finish designing is just the defiling and preserving systems of magic. Which I'm still kind of kicking around, but I've got some ideas to make it interesting. Yeah, like it's coming together, and I'm getting really excited about it. My regular Giga games are doing really well. Legend of Three Kingdoms, they are basically defending each one of the towns in this little demi-domain that they're in from these huge invasion armies, and that's been really fun thus far. And then in Traversing the Veil, if you haven't been watching it, they are exploring basically a giant underwater titan kraken thing that has a city, like a massive capital city-sized city, growing out of it. But the city itself has been abandoned for centuries, if not millennia. The players don't know. And the idea of a giant living city has been lost to history. Like, history in the place that they are has never mentioned that, oh yeah, we used to live in living cities or anything. Like, it's not in any history book. No one knows about this. So this is something that is not only ancient, but has been forgotten and kind of erased from history. So they get to kind of go through there and try and figure out what's going on with some kind of eldritch horror kind of stuff going on in there. So, yeah. So that stuff's been really fun. I have a video I keep meaning to make, talking specifically about Legion Remix, and because I've been having an absolute blast playing Legion Remix. I've actually almost gotten every single class up to level 80, and completed the class hall quests for everyone except the rogue. I'm finishing their class hall quest because I have to do a tough world quest before I can finish it. And then the only ones I have left are Priest, Warrior, and Death Knight. And Death Knight's going to be the last one I do, because Death Knight was the first class that I did Legion way back when. So, yeah, it's been fun. But maybe that'll be my video tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe something else crazy will happen tomorrow, and I'll need to talk about it. But, yeah, I just want to talk about kind of some of the story stuff that they do in Legion and how it can be kind of translated into running a TTRPG campaign, because they've got some really good stuff in there. So, anyway, yeah, that's going to be all for me today. Sorry, this is just kind of like an update to what's going on, but I've been dealing with a lot of anxiety last couple days, and so this is all my brain lets me think about right now. But I'm happy about, getting 2 people that I haven't played with before, possibly 3 for my December campaign. I hope you guys are getting excited about it too, because I think it's going to be super cool. So, yeah. Anyway, it's going to be all for me today, and I will see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.